Dak Prescott suffers notable injury right before training camp. Cowboys fans received shocking news about their star quarterback ahead of training camp. NFL teams and fan bases are currently enjoying their summer breaks before they reconvene for training camp at the end of July. Cowboys fans, however, can't seem to get a break from drama and negativity. The latest news in Dallas paints a pessimistic picture for the Cowboys ahead of training camp scheduled to start in 3 weeks. According to Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News, quarterback Dak Prescott has been wearing a protective boot on his right foot because of a foot sprain while he is on vacation in Cabo San Lucas. The images of Prescott wearing a boot first surfaced on social media. The photo taken by a user caused speculation among the fan base about the details of the injury. Dak Prescott estuvo este fin de semana en Los Cabos. En la Alberca camino normal pero esta foto de a quarterback el muestra que tiene una lesión en el tobillo derecho. #nflpic.twitter.com/wynox6gh2gg. The Dallas Morning News report suggests that the injury isn't serious and Prescott has only worn the boot for a week. The fact that this was not known to the public until a social media post, however, raises some questions about the accuracy of this report since it benefits both the Cowboys and Prescott to undersell the severity of this injury at this point. The Cowboys haven't had a workout in almost a month since they wrapped up the mandatory minicamp on June 5. There was no indication of an injury to Prescott at the time. When he could have suffered such an injury is unknown. Ever since going through the season-ending surgery on his right ankle in 2020, Prescott hasn't had any issues with his foot. Fans are obviously hoping that their star QB is back on the field for the training camp. If this causes him to miss some time or start slowly to the season, it could potentially impact the contract negotiations between him and the Cowboys. Jerry Jones and company has been playing hardball with him so far, as Prescott enters the final year of his contract. An injury-hobbled season could potentially further complicate things for both sides. The Dallas Cowboys are currently at a contract standstill regarding the extension of their star quarterback, Dak Prescott. The two sides are continuing to drag out the negotiations, leading some to wonder whether Jerry Jones and the front office have resolved to allow Prescott to hit free agency at the conclusion of the 2024 season. However, Prescott recently spoke about how his mind is strictly focused on football, and that he is letting his agent handle the contract negotiations, via John Machota. There's been conversations back and forth. But for the most part for me, as y'all know, I'm going to let my agent do that, especially as we get right here into training camp. Day 1 of training camp, my mind flips to just obviously helping my team and just doing everything I can within the organization and on the football field to make sure that I am my best, and that everyone around me is their best. The money and all that will take care of itself as it always has. Prescott does what he always does and responded to the media with a team-first mentality. Whether he admits it or not, Prescott will be looking to reset the quarterback market soon, and is in prime position to do so. Regardless of his underwhelming playoff performances, it's difficult to imagine that there is a team out there that would not be willing to pay Prescott $60 million per year, especially with the inconsistency and injuries we saw at the position across the league last year. We have recent examples of how inflated a quarterback contract can get when the player hits the open market. Trevor Lawrence is the most recent franchise quarterback to sign a massive extension, inking a 5-year, $275 million extension with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jared Goff also signed an extension this offseason with the Detroit Lions that is worth $212 million over the next 4 years. Prescott undoubtedly had a more productive season in 2023 than both Goff and Lawrence, which makes it fair to assume that his asking price will be reasonably higher than that of the two other signal callers. The Las Vegas Raiders are a team that comes to mind that would be willing to sign Prescott to a record-breaking extension. The city of Las Vegas is rapidly becoming a city that adores its franchise. Team owner Mark Davis would be willing to sign Prescott for an astronomical amount of money in order to give the Raiders the franchise quarterback that they feel would allow them to compete in the gauntlet of the AFC West. It seems that the Raiders' current quarterback battle will be between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Based on the amount he signed for 2 years, $25 million, Minshew will most likely win the starting job, though most of the rumblings coming out of Sin City suggest the other guy could be in pole position and could potentially be solid enough to help the team win enough games to keep them out of the Carson Beck/Shadur Sanders sweepstakes. The team is desperate for a signal caller, and Prescott would be available to the Raiders at the right price if he hits in free agency. Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson, who was recently acquired via trade with the Denver Broncos, is currently the team's starting quarterback heading into training camp. Wilson fell off a cliff after his arrival in Denver and seems to be a shell of his former self. Unless new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith can teach Justin Fields how to throw in the pocket, the Steelers will once again be buyers in the quarterback market in 2025. Even though he recently signed an extension, Mike Tomlin's job could be in jeopardy over the next few seasons if his squad underperforms. Tomlin would be more than eager to bring in an experienced veteran such as Prescott to orchestrate the offense in Pittsburgh. Prescott could become the signal caller that the Steelers have been eager to find ever since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. Dallas Cowboys emerge as favorites to land former star receiver Michael Thomas. The Dallas Cowboys have been very far from the all-in mindset that owner Jerry Jones said the team would have this offseason. However, the team is not the betting favorite to land the once best receiver in football in Michael Thomas to pair him with one of the best in the game today in CeeDee Lamb. It has now been several months since the New Orleans Saints parted ways with their former All-Pro receiver, and for the most part, it has been very quiet about where Thomas will be suiting up for 2024. There are now indications that Dallas could be the number one spot on that list for Thomas. Per a new betting future that was released on BetOnline, Thomas is favored to land himself on the Cowboys during free agency before the beginning of the 2024 season. While the Cowboys are not in desperate need for another weapon, having Thomas could certainly help opposite Lamb on the field. Dallas has the highest odds in landing Thomas at 3-1, and there are a few other big-time contenders on the list as well. After America's team, the Buffalo Bills are next in line with 5-1 odds, then the Baltimore Ravens at 8-1, and the Kansas City Chiefs round the list out with 10-1 odds. The odds makers are letting the NFL world know that Thomas is almost undoubtedly going to a big-time contender for the 2024 season. Imagining Thomas on any of those teams with any of those quarterbacks is an exciting idea. It's quite hard to tell exactly why Thomas has not signed a contract just yet, as maybe he has not been offered the right amount of money, or he has not found the right team fit for himself for this season. It is clear that most of these teams in contention would not be able to offer Thomas too big of a deal. Thomas was one, if not the best receiver in football over the 2016 to 2019 seasons, where he seemed like a surefire Hall of Fame type of guy. He recorded 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons and had the single-season record for most catches in a year with 149 in 2019. Thomas went to 3 Pro Bowls during that time and was a 2-time first-team All-Pro. He was voted the Offensive Player of the Year in 2019, making him the first receiver to win the award since the great Jerry Rice. Thomas could certainly help a contending team, especially like the Chiefs, who are lacking great weapons at receiver. However, at the moment, the best bet is that he lands with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys for this season. We will have to wait and see where Thomas lands, and at the age of 31 years old, how many good years he has left in the NFL.